Hey, it's Ryan, and I have for you this week's Mille Lacs fishing report. Water temps are running about 74 degrees right now, and the theme lately is it's been beautiful outside. Couldn't ask for any better weather lately, and it looks like it's going to continue for quite some time. July and August are typically the best weather of the season, so if you're a fair weather fisherman, now is the time to get out the next few weeks. The bites generally pretty predictable this time of year. It's not going to be like the spring or fall bites, but it's still pretty good, and the fish are in very predictable locations. So the fishing's still good this time of year. Lately, we've been limited to just muskies and smallmouth on the big lake. Walleyes have been closed. Their 2 week summer closure is almost coming to an end right now. Things open back up on Saturday, and definitely looking forward to that. I expect the fish to probably be in pretty similar areas to where they were 2 weeks ago. Um, I'm seeing fish out on the gravel bars, also seeing them on the rocks. I imagine they're still on the mud. I haven't been out there lately, but the gravel bars definitely have a lot of fish on them. Was on a few gravel bars today looking for smallmouth, and you were definitely finding some walleyes up on tops of the bars. So they are there, and they look like they'd be pretty easy to catch too with some bobbers and leashes. As far as the muskie bite goes, did a couple trips for those this week. Um, Mixed success. We had some fish follow, had a strike on a topwater. Kind of hit or miss this week, and that's typical for the muskies. Nothing strange there. If I were going to pick a couple baits, I would still go with the bucktails and the topwaters, and one of my favorites is always going to be the glide bait. The glide baits always just get fish to move when nothing else will if things get tough. If you're out midday and you're just looking to raise a fish, throw a glide bait. They work awesome. If they don't bite on that, you can always go back to them in the mornings or evenings or on a moon phase with a topwater or a bucktail. So any one of those three baits is a great choice this time of year. If you're running the bucktails, I don't have any particular size that seems to be working better than anything else. Yeah, if you want to try something different, try burning one in. That can sometimes provoke a reaction strike. I would say if you're going to be out on a bright day, use bright colors. If you're going to be out on a cloudy day, go with something a little more drab. Moving on to the smallmouth. Smallmouth bite remains good. Smallmouth are predictable this time of year. You're going to find them in some deeper haunts. There's definitely fish scattered. You'll find some shallow, you'll find some all the way out on your deepest rocks. But I would say for the most part, if you're hitting deeper boulders, deeper rock spines, drop offs with large rock on it, you're going to be finding fish. As far as techniques to catch them, if you can find some fish on tops of the bars or up a little bit shallower, morning and evening, a topwater is going to be a great way to get them to go. Everybody loves throwing topwater, so I definitely recommend that. You could also try throwing swim baits right now. If I'm throwing a swim bait this time of year, I'm definitely trying to make contact, bottom contact. So strike it into a rock, strike it into a boulder, grind it through some heavier rock areas. That can sometimes also get a reaction strike for you. The tried and true method, though, that's just been day in, day out good for me, has been the Ned Rig. I run a couple different styles of Ned Rigs. I also run tubes too. Generally, I stick with green pumpkin as far as colors go. I try to keep the heads as light as I can go. So with the Ned Rig, you want to just be barely able to find bottom. Same goes for the tube. I'll sometimes throw the 4-inch worm on the Ned Rig, so it's more of a jig worm. The tube obviously is just a tube. Sometimes you'll use like an 1/8 to a 1/4 ounce weight, but go with the smaller tubes, like the 2.5, 2 3/4 inch tubes. As far as Ned rigs go, I generally just use the regular old straight TRD. That and green pumpkin just works, and that's what gets put on most of the time this time of year for the post-spawn smallmouth. When fishing the Ned rig, the best advice I can give you is to go slow. If you think you're going slow enough, you're still going too fast. You really got to slow your pace down. You really got to crawl those things along. These fish can at times see quite a bit of pressure, so really dragging that bait slowly across the bottom is key. I like to try to pull the bait with the rod, not so much the reel handle. Drag it along with the rod, pick up the slack. Drag it along with the rod, pick up the slack. When you really slow it down, you'll start to notice more bites. You'll also kind of find this little rhythm of where you start to hang up on the bottom, you free yourself from the snag, and you get hit by a fish. That's also something that happens quite often out here. So if you do get into a little snag and you pop free, don't simply reel that bait in. Let it die, let it sit back on the bottom, and start going right back into your drag again. It'll definitely help you catch more fish. So Saturday's the big reopener for walleyes. Looking forward to seeing you all up here. Have a great weekend and good luck fishing.